Guys, in this video, I will be explaining the history of free battery swap, NIO's genius strategy of why it's free, and also, the history of it. When can we expect profitability from swap stations? Because charging stations are already profitable, but swapping, that's quite a few ways off. All right. So NIO just made this massive announcement. They made all the swap stations on the 318 route completely free. And the 318 route is an impressive route that goes to the base of Mount Everest. So basically from now, every single NIO owner can go to the base of Mount Everest just by battery swapping, which is just totally unprecedented, totally impressive. So this promotion lasts until the 12th of October. And basically, there's 30 some swap stations that you can swap completely for free if you don't already have free battery swap. Now, I have completely free battery swap. I swap completely free. I don't pay a single dime for battery swap. I don't pay electricity fee. I don't pay the service fee. And a lot of people have unlimited free battery swap. A lot of people have 6 free battery swaps per month. Some of them have 4 free battery swaps per month. Some of them have free battery swap vouchers that were given to them as incentives to purchase the car. Now let's explain why it's free to begin with. The simple reason is swapping is not mainstream. They need to make it free because at the very beginning, when they just launched battery swap stations, and this was back in like 2018, 2019, nobody would go swap, not even the NIO owners, because it costed money and people would just like be a good boy, so to speak. They call it being a good boy, and just charge at home and be a good boy. And then swapping, they would only go swap if they had like a voucher. So of course the usage was just really low and people didn't really know about battery swap. So they decided to make it free for everybody. Unlimited. You can swap 10 times a day. It would be completely free. So this, of course, had a cutoff date. You can't have this last forever. And this cutoff date was, of course, on October of 2020. And this was also when I bought my NIO, this car right here. I was part of the last group of people that got unlimited free battery swap. So I was quite a lucky bastard. Yeah, I'm a lucky bastard, guys. So I had to pull the trigger back then because otherwise it got lowered down to 6 free battery swaps per month. Only 6 per month. That's way different from unlimited, okay? So let's go back to the question why. Like, of course, it's not mainstream. If you go to any random pedestrian here in China and you ask them if they know about battery swap, they do not know about battery swap. They know about charging because, of course, you have to charge your phone, but nobody knows about battery swap. Not many people know about battery swap. In fact, there's still a lot of misconception. People think battery swap is swapping out the 12-volt battery in the front of the car. What? Yeah. A few years back, I was helping out the sales reps in the store, talking to customers, explaining my experience as a car owner. And they had the impression that battery swap was just changing the 12-volt battery. And they said, no, we don't want to do battery swap. It's too heavy, and I don't want to carry that. And I'm like, what? What? Yo, battery swap, it's a big battery at the bottom of the car. It's automatic. You don't have to carry anything, right? So that's the level of misunderstanding that the general public has when it comes to battery swapping. So you kind of have to give it to people for free to not only make it mainstream, but also get people hooked to it, get people addicted to it. It's kind of like, let me use a not so great analogy, the dealer giving out samples, right? Of course, you don't expect them to be profitable when you're giving out samples. You're giving out samples, giving out a whole lot of samples. You're getting people hooked. And what NIO really wants to do is to make battery swap a habit. So for me right now, I would never proportion a period of time in my day to go charge because it's just, I don't have that habit. I have a habit of just battery swapping. So I don't actively think I need to go charge my car somewhere. I need to spend this amount of time. No, I got used to battery swapping, and this is what NIO wants. NIO wants people to get used to battery swapping. They're just swapping every day, and it's no different from owning a gas car. All right, you don't have to spend time at the charger. You don't have to fight for chargers. You don't have to line up for chargers. You don't have to worry about like those dirty chargers, etc. And once it becomes a habit, that's when they can sort of become profitable with battery swap. And I think with profitability for battery swap, it really also depends on partner swapping partners. NIO has so many swapping partners, but they haven't really launched their cars yet. And we've seen some of those pictures of cars that can do battery swap, like Cherry cars that can do battery swaps at NIO swap stations, but they haven't been officially launched yet. So once that goes, public and people can buy those cars, they obviously won't have a free battery swap, right? So that would really help the profitability of the car. So, like, how many people have free battery swap? Like a lot of people, all right? A lot of people. Any NIO owner that bought their car before October 2020 had unlimited free battery swap. After that, until about summer of 2023, okay, all the people that bought in between that time had about either six or four free battery swaps per month forever, okay? So they can swap 6 times per month for free. The 7th would cost money, and that privilege lasts forever. And they can pass it on to the next card. This is also why so many NIO owners are buying the ES8. They're not buying the Envo L90 because you can't pass on this privilege to the Envo car. But if you buy an ES8, you can transfer your free unlimited battery swap to privilege to the new ES8. And you're not losing out on this extremely good privilege that you have. So keep that in mind. So after summer of 2023, they stopped giving out like free swaps per month. And instead, they started giving out vouchers. Vouchers where eventually you run out of these vouchers, and then if you want to swap, you pay for battery swaps, which I think is much better because there's an expiration date, right? They will eventually run out of those free swap vouchers. So they would sometimes give out 48 free swap vouchers, or even up to 100, 144. That's the most that they've given out. And right now, if you buy the new ES8, you basically don't get any free swap vouchers because they don't need to do that. They only do that as an incentive for their cars that really aren't selling that well, or really need a push. So then they have that incentive to help boost sales of that car. And we've seen it work quite well, right? So you have a lot of NIO owners with free battery swap. And this just means that going forward, it's pretty hard for swap stations to become profitable until we have these like third-party guys come in with their cars that can also do battery swap. But yeah, think about, like, for me personally, I lost track. I've swapped more than 300 times, and it's like completely free. Yeah, so I saved a ton of money just from free battery swap. But going forward, of course, I'm sure that if a car doesn't sell well and they really need to push it, give incentives, free battery swap is definitely the way to go. And once it becomes mainstream and people know about battery swap, it's just common knowledge. Once it becomes common knowledge, then that's when I think they can really start raking in money from battery swap stations. Okay, and battery swap stations are multi-purpose. They're not just for swapping. They also have energy storage purposes, right? Grid stabilization purposes. They also sell electricity during peak hours back to the grid, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's pretty important. But for now, free battery swap is a thing that's kind of dragging the profitability of swap stations. But going forward, once it becomes mainstream, yeah, that's when we know that NIO has really changed the game, okay? And everybody's going to want a car that can do battery swap instead of charging and just charging for a long time, right? Or lining up to charge is also a terrible experience. So, yeah, it's going to take some time for battery swap to become profitable. So this, free swap privilege just means that they don't have to use their vouchers, and they don't have to, like I'm talking about the 318 route. All right, the 318 route to the base of Mount Everest, free battery swapping all the way there. Those 30 swap stations completely free. That means if you are out of your swap vouchers, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. If you have swap vouchers, you don't have to use it. You don't use it. And also, if you have swap privileges, you're not using the privileges. Yeah. So very nice of NIO to do that. But of course, yeah, free battery swap is not something to sleep on. Yeah. Especially when we're trying to get profitable. Yeah. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.